Yeah, Bridging the Gap, Nyomi Banks, the goddess. Tune in. Hey yo, Black, where we at? Elements. Got a problem? What's the issue? Ask Nyomi for advice, she will bless you. Is it sex, love, or relationship?
Hey, it's your girl, the goddess Nyomi Banks, and welcome to another episode of Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast, where we talk about love, sex, relationship, culture differences, and so much more. Well, this episode is part 2 of a special episode that we have with, we're live on stage at Ask Nyomi, Healing Through Spirituality and Sexuality tour, where I have the sexy Mr. Marcus and the also sexy Miss Imani Rose, also known as Safel. To where if you missed the first episode, go back and listen to the first episode, part 1. But this is part 2. We're live in Las Vegas, Nevada with the show. But enjoy. And enjoy. And welcome back to Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast, where we are live here on ABN Weekend with Healing Yourself Through Spirituality and Sexuality. Again, I am here with Mr. Marcus. What's going on, baby?
What up?
We still can hear.
Yeah, right. And my girl Imani, aka Miss Safel. What's going on, baby?
Yes, I'm lovely.
All right, so we are back, and we're going to the audience right now and taking some questions from them. So what's going on? Who's our first person? All right, go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming out here and answering questions and doing this podcast. Really appreciate it. I come from an era where I was watching Mr. Marcus as well as Julian St. Jacques on VHS. So I want to thank those cats for coming out. Yes, before DVD.
I don't know what that is. Big cassette cracks.
Yeah, so if you needed a question and answering session with Mr. Marcus, you would have to find his information or email address on Blacktail Magazine and email him. And I want to thank, first and foremost, Mr. Marcus for being one of my first people to mentor me back in the mid-90s. So I was in my teens, he was in his 20s, and I was young and dumb, full of cum. And Mr. Marcus was nice enough to email me back while I was in college and going through what I had to go through. But my question for this evening was, starting with the ladies first, what pitfalls did you have spiritually in the industry, as well as sexuality as well? And how did you overcome those pitfalls? And what advice would you give people of color, male and female, dealing with social media today versus what you had to deal with in the past? So I will start with the females first and end with the males. I know Julian St. Jacques probably has a lot to say, but I'll start with the females first and end with the males.
For real? No, I'm just kidding. You want me to start off? Can you start off? Okay. You know what, for me, because I did get into the industry a little older. Even though I didn't look it, I was a little older, and I had kids. I had, children. But going into the industry, I kind of knew from coming from more of, okay, so let me go back. Let me tell you this. I had an agent at one time that told me that I need to be happy for what I was at because of the color of my skin and of the age that I was. And I guess at that time I was getting paid more than the other girls, and I was asking if I can get paid more versus what our counterparts, our white performers, females, was getting. I wanted the same rate as them, and he told me that I need to be happy for what I've been giving because I am one of the highest paying black women at me being black and me being of my age, so I should be happy with that. That has been one of the pitfalls of it, is really trying to come out of that stereotypical thing that they have, is that because you're black, that you have to get paid less. The other thing was that when it comes to interracial, I didn't know that you can charge more for interracial, but it's not for black women. It's only for white women.
Yep.
So if for me, having sex with a white man or anybody else of another ethnicity of me is not considered interracial. And I say, how is that not? Because I am a black woman that is a white man or that is a Latino. Why am I not getting paid a higher price? And that argument is that we had, and that was one of the downfalls, is that, so who are we? So what are we? Because at a moment we are a kink or we are a niche. Because when you go look up things, ebony is one of the highest, if not the highest searched that makes money. You understand what I'm saying? So even when they say is that blacks don't sell on the covers, that's a lie. They will tell you that, us as black people, they will tell us that because they feel like we don't know our worth. And when we do know our worth, and then that's where we become a problem.
Yes.
And that's where we become a problem. So that has been one of my pitfalls. But like Marcus had said earlier today, everybody has their different stories on how they come, and everybody can't come in. Remember, I was a grown woman with a whole family. So I kind of knew what my worth is, and I knew what I was accept and what I wouldn't accept. I used to always go by all money, not good money. Have I been screwed over? Yes, I have. But I learned from those, from those lessons from that. What I would tell young ladies now is the same thing that I just told that young lady earlier, is that know your worth. You know what I'm saying? Go into what you want to go in this industry and not anybody else's. I think back in the day, they did kind of put, certain people against each other. At one time, it was only, especially for the black women, it was only a number of different ones that can be on the top.
Yep.
And then everybody else is down here. So when you see those, up there, it only can be one or two this, one or two Jada Fires or Marie Loves or Nyomi Banks or Misty Stone. You understand what I'm saying? Or Roxy. So it was like that, or Pinky. So it was like that at a point in time where you can see the whole, Jessica Drake and what's other, what I'm talking about, like all of them. It could be so many different of those, but it only could be a few of us. That was one of the downfalls for me being in the industry that I saw, that I was like, because we all are not the same. We all have a following. We all have an audience. We all have a language to speak to other people. So why can't we do the same and make money like that? So it's only certain people that were able to do that, for that. My advice to them is, like I said before, is that go in. The thing is now is different than before us. Now you have more control over your brand. I came in wanted to brand. A lot of people didn't know that back in the day. They didn't, because you had Blacktail, you had certain different magazines like that. A lot of people didn't know to get a publicist or, that to help you to put around. Now that social media, you can be your own publicist. You can promote yourself through that. They got OnlyFans. They got so many different streaming platforms that you can make your own money and become your own star. Because there's a lot of women that's out here right now that are creating their own buzz through that. That's the difference from that. And then I'm going to be very honest. I have a love and hate for that, because there's a lot of women that we stand on their shoulders for that really had to go through the shit for us to be where we at now, and for those other women to be what they are now. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know if I was long-winded with that, but I'm going to hand it over to her.
Look, it was long, but I get it. I get it. When I came in, again, I started meeting super cool people. I saw Nyomi, and she had her own booth at like ABN and Exotica. And I walk around the corner and I would see these white women, Latina, but they got like a whole 20 by 20 foot thing where it's just a whole bunch of them. And I ran back over to Nyomi. I said, why we ain't got one? I said, where the black girls at? Why we ain't got our thing? Why are we all segregated?
Yeah.
Why Roxy rolling her eyes at me? Why Misty Stone, she would take pictures with me, but she'd have ran off. Where'd she go? Listen, I used to be so confused. So the pitfalls, it was just me being confused. So I came in right when Twitter was popular and Instagram had just started. So I was like, well, I would just, I would start doing some, basically, I guess TikTok and Reels back then. And I was like, I'm your icon. I would shout out my own self. I would wear my own little t-shirts with my name on my booty, on my shirt. I was just like, let me just promote myself. And I went from, again, I started like 4 months in. I had 100,000 followers on Twitter. Missy like, how'd she do that? She's like, what you been doing? I said, girl, I just be out here telling these dudes to follow me, listen. But I had to learn how to like always turn all these little weird pitfalls into an opportunity. I was in college. I was in college for entrepreneurship. So I would be like making my homework assignment, but my mentor was one of the career center directors. I was like, I got into porn. Can you help me make a business plan for this? And he was like, what? I was like, just come on, just work with me, white man, come on. And he literally would always help me learn exit strategies. When they say no, this is your yes. And then I meet someone, Nyomi, she like treat it like a business. I kept getting little downloads of like what to do. And like people was like, you're a star. I was like, no, I'm just a starlet. No, you're legendary. I was like, no, it's only been like 4 months, 6 months. But that was viral back then. I didn't, viral wasn't a word back then. And I was like, I'm doing something good. And I didn't have to do anything. Now companies are calling me. I didn't have to work with certain companies. I could go mainstream. Like I'm in music videos, rappers and athletes hit me up in the DM. I said, listen, look, it's lit. Look, where is my party? I need, and it was so cool to see that like every pitfall, just know it always has an opportunity.
Yeah.
So you have to look at how you're going to solve a problem. I'm a soul sister. Most of my fans are black men. So I would ask the black men, like, what do you want? I don't want to do what the white men want me to do. I want to do what y'all want. And they would tell me never to get any surgery done. So I never got any surgery done. They would tell me the kind of fantasies they would have. And I would just play on those. So if West Coast wanted to shoot me, I'd be like, I need to do this. When I started doing lesbian stuff, I kind of broke out a different kind of role for studs. Like I did, what was that called? It's not Orange the New Black, but we did something like Orange is the New Black. And I played like the stud. And it just opened up a whole nother world for like the lesbian sexuality for black women. Because we didn't have stud chicks like acting like that. And my whole role, I just stayed in character. So again, when you see a pitfall, look for the opportunity to like create. And I stayed creative. It was hard, but I kept just trying. And then on a spiritual level, just to wrap it up, is like God wanted me to, I guess God wanted me to like help people see like you create your own experiences, because sexual energy is energy. So if you putting out bad energy, I would see girls like, they need to pay me, they need to do this. They don't be like, girl, you better like videotape yourself and get your own content. Like I would see people, the girls in the industry, like put themselves down where they only lasted for a year. If you can go past a year, you a gangster. If you can go past a year and people still nominate you a real gangster with it. And I was able to stay afloat and stay up there, and I was really happy. So that's my intake on that.
What was the question?
And then how did you get through it?
They say for every obstacle, turn it into for every stumbling or something, use it
Opportunity.
opportunity to step up.
Pitfalls.
I want to know what your stud character was. Who was
You
that?
didn't see it?
What
I'm
was
gonna pull it up.
Yeah, pull that shit up. I want to see it.
Record me. I'll pull up on your phone.
I'm gonna do that. My thing was social media. Because when we go back to the VHS days, right? So no internet, whatever. And the internet comes around, social media comes around, these platforms. And the thing that always got me was the comments. The comments were brutal. You know what I mean? Like cats be showing you love, everybody loving you, but the comments, they be tearing you up. Like,
Right.
like, who is this motherfucker? I be clicking on their profile, and their profile be blocked and shit. they got 10 followers.
know.
They just be talking shit, and I was like, man, they would want to, you know, take you down a dark road.
Yeah.
So I had to put that down. I'd have to turn that off. I have to walk away. I have to realize that it was like, you know, if that was their plan. It was working. So you know, have that balance. Like people gonna talk shit, and then when I would learn, like, if they said some real truthful, funny shit, I'd be like, okay, all right, cool. You know what I mean? But I'd always say, well, you know, I know it's either they're either right about me or I'm right about myself. You know what I mean? And I had to actually ask myself, am I what they say you are, or do I say who I am? And in that, you know, there's always improvement. There's always going to be maintenance that has to be done. I'm always going to have to, you know, try to get better than I was yesterday.
Right.
So in that regard, that was the truth. Wherever they were coming from, however they were commenting, why they were commenting, you know, and why I happened to come across and read it.
Right.
And it only mattered if I allowed it to.
Right.
And if it was constructive, if I took it in a way where maybe that was some enlightenment. But if it was really negative or something, I had to realize, you know, I don't need to live to serve that motherfucker.
Right.
And I don't even know him. I got no contact with him. But that was because I put myself out there pretty early on. You know, I got the email back in like '97. So, and I put it in Black Tails, and that went to prison. And so all the niggas from prison were like, so I had like, I still got those letters. I still got them.
You gotta find mine.
After like the 10th one, I was like, yo, I'm in prison right now, but when I get out, I want to be a porn star. After like the 10th one, I was like, well, I can't, you know, they were all like, they were coming like, yeah, they were right. So, and I would read them and I'd write back, but it was just so many. I was like, well, let me just leave that alone. But you know, when you put yourself out there, you're listening to these stories, and that's where, you know, I started seeing the human in people, and I was like, we're young, we're growing, we got all these different levels of how we feel and how we see things, and it doesn't necessarily reflect on who I am. It's more about a reflection of who they are. You know what I mean? And so I ain't trying to, you know, I don't know them for shit.
Right.
And if there's, and I put myself out there. You know, everything. I'm running around butt fucking naked. You know, let dick go hard, don't matter. You know what I mean? So you do that, then come talk to me.
Thanks. Julian?
I got a question for you. How do you guys deal with being in the business so long? We come from where porn wasn't so socially acceptable, and we got a lot of backlash for being in the adult industry. How did you guys, over the years, deal with that outside scrutiny of people who actually didn't know you, had preconceived notions of who you are and the personality that you are, and just because you did what you did, they have you're the scum of the earth. But now these days, I think it's so much more socially acceptable that it's such a different. They don't have the same ideology of what this particular thing was. So how did you guys deal with that for the time frame that you were in there?
You know, for me, it was a little hard. It was a little hard in the beginning because I'm gonna be very honest. I didn't know that any of my family watched it. I didn't. I didn't.
Everybody watched it.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, and the thing is, I did my research and I saw how much money that was being made from this industry, especially like Christianity was like the #1 consumers of it. Knowing that I came from a very Christian background, I just thought that my family was an exception to the rule. I truly did. Until I found out that no, they watching it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Who's just watching it?
Yeah, they watching it. They're watching it. But for me, it took a minute to be real and honest with myself. So even to say, well, you did this, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I did do that. And that's the thing, is that to owning up, yes, I did. Yes, I did suck dick on camera. Yes, I did do this but you was watching it. You know was I good?
You was the consumer.
You understand what I'm saying? So once I was able to take that, it's their shame that they putting on me. Once I was able to remove that, then I feel better. That's how I can sit here now and talk, because it's not my shame. You know, you're not gonna shame me because of what you see or because we all fucking. Because that's how we got here. We just do it on camera.
Right.
And make some money from it. You understand what I'm saying? And even in that process, I had a lot of fans that wrote me, a lot of couples that wrote me and praised me and thanked me for helping them through something. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I learned this from you, or I learned this from the scene that you did with Marcus or with Lex or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get those letters to know, okay, well, all right, this is what this is from. And people say, well, I learned something from you. You know, I learned how to do this. And even with women, now I'm starting to get more women that now will talk to me and like, you know, I like that. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to know that it's okay for me to touch myself, so me to please myself. Because we are taught that we are not supposed to do those things. That we are not to self-please ourselves in that manner, you know, like that. And some people are afraid to do that. So now sex is open. The only thing is that I ain't even gonna lie. I had to go through that little journey of shit, because it was a mental thing. But I'm also glad that it's embracing it now even more. I just think that it needs to be more education on it and more knowledgeable on it, and with the attitude of it. It needs to be a correct attitude of it, especially when it comes to sexism.
I think we just deal with
Edit, right? No.
Yeah. Now you got it right, because you know people are gonna project what they think and feel onto you to see how you handle this shit.
Yes.
See if you feel the same way. You know, you guys can both be shamed together. You know what I mean? I think the spiritual side of it, and I always tell people, you know, I'm very spiritual, because I will stop and pray, and I will like pray for others, or meditate for others, or meditate on the situation, you know, because it'll get it's emotional.
Right.
You know what I mean? When your emotions kind of dictate your actions.
Right.
So it's just a way of trying to measure, find that balance. So dealing with it, you know, when we were younger, you don't have no comprehensive of how to do that. And it's because through other people's journeys, through other people's stories, you start to realize some of these things might benefit you.
Yeah.
And you try to impart those things. There's so many people at the AVN. There was so many people that are, there's now, and there's also what we didn't have back then is a lot of more support groups. Sex work is, sex work is now in the conversation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now they're acknowledging it. With OnlyFans, I think now, you got mothers, and there was teachers, and there was police officers who were doing OnlyFans, even if they were just doing their feet, they were like making money in sex work. They were dealing with the people that we got to deal with in sex work. And these guys ain't easy, these girls ain't easy to deal with. They got demands, they got an impression of you that you must maintain 24/7.
Right.
That's not, it's like, nah, they ain't 24/7, bro. You know what I mean? But it's like, so it's a different world. There's a lot more people in that world. You know what I mean? But there's much more support groups involved that are there for those people than what we had coming up. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet again. Kind of. We're gonna try. So, again, I came in when Twitter just started. So I remember just being mindful to my audience, my fans. Whoever my fans were, that's who I really focus on. So if I met somebody and I knew they wasn't a fan, like I would quiz people. Actually, every Christmas I would give away I would do like 20 days of Imani Rose, and I would quiz people, and it would help me identify who my fans were. And if somebody did something stupid, I would do like what people do. I would make my fans attack that person. I'd be like, get them. This profile, block them, do whatever you need to do. Get them out of here, okay? I would do that, and then I also I would pay attention to what they didn't like. So if I got negative feedback, it probably was a derogatory scene. Again, I was a soul sister, so I like doing black on black film. So when I would do white boy stuff, they wouldn't like stuff. So I was like, well, what, if I get that gig, like what would you want to happen in that situation? Because I can kind of play with it. I can say no to certain people. Like, my fans didn't want to see me do a scene with Wesley Pipes. Y'all know he wild with his mouth. He wild with his mouth. He just say whatever. But because I would come in with this like girl next door, classy pinup type, they didn't want to see me do something like this, so I wouldn't do it. If there was a certain white guy they didn't like, they would just tell me, and I just stayed in my community. And I think that's what made it weird. Like the comments and stuff didn't matter to me. I didn't get to experience like really, really hate stuff. I've had a few pastors like DM me because they was jacking off to me too much, and now they mad at me. I'm like, well, at least you got the Holy Ghost, nigga. I can't help you now. I'm your God now. So I just had to learn how to like play with people's things, but I saw that there was a mental health issue. I saw the sex addictions. I saw, people are struggling in their sexuality. And like you said, education is needed. Yeah. And I'm so excited because where I am in my life, I can finally do the sex educational stuff that I want to do. I can play with art. I can play with storytelling and help people like explore their sexuality. And I moved to Vegas, so it's lit now. I'm excited for being one of those people that's like, I'm pro, sex positive, and I want people to play in their sexuality so that these labels and comments and stuff, they can like kind of debunk that. So it can be like the UK. Like the UK, they over there chilling. They are. Naked all the time. We over here like, I can't be naked. Don't show a nipple.
All right, we're gonna take one more question. We have any more questions?
Yeah. So, kind of to build on what you said about sex positive, because there's been a lot of talk about like shame of being in the industry. Can you, from each of you, think of one specific experience where on set you experienced some sort of, either spiritual high or just sort of next level, like where you didn't feel not just pleasure in a physical sense, but in a mental sense, whether that was connecting with another performer or just doing something you hadn't done before, where it was just like amazing.
Yeah. For me, it was my one and only gangbang for Nyomi Banks hardcore that I did with LT for Elegant Angel, and it was like it was a movie about me, and so it was so when me and LT sat down and when Elegant Angel offered me the opportunity to showcase all of those things. And it was like, where did I want to go with my sexuality? Because I have desires of things, like I had desires of true threesomes and stuff like that. So I did my first gangbang, my first and only gangbang. So when me and LT sat down, we wanted to be very sexy. It was more of a masquerade type of feel with that. What I found myself is that even going through that process of that, I found myself getting so sexually high off of that, it scared me. And what I mean, it scared me because I felt so good in doing it. And I don't know if you guys ever watched it. If you watch it, you can see like them, like she just like into it, like it was. And when I was finished, I still wanted to go, more and more. And I've never felt that out of all of the years that's being in that industry. I didn't feel that before, but I felt it then. It was like a release, like bam, and it was like the doors would open. But I was so afraid of that because I've never felt that way before. So I'm like, oh shit, wait, is something next gonna come? Okay. And then probably like a year later, I was gone. I was out of the industry. Yeah, I was out, I retired out of the industry. But it was so it scared me, but it was so pleasing to me, and that I allowed myself to go there. But I had to stop. I had to stop myself before I go further that I didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was mine.
So you like the gangbang?
That time. That's my one and only. Yeah, that was my one and only. Yeah.
Who was all in there? Was he?
Girl, I don't know. No, Girl, I don't even know. I mean, I can't remember. Like when I said they had masks on, like it was real. Like it was sexy. The whole film was like sexy. Every scene was sexy. He was in one of my first double penetration. Yeah, so like I went hardcore.
Yeah.
Like I went over there, and that was my one and only time for each one of those things.
Wow.
And that was it. Yeah.
That's dope. That's what, you know, that right.
For us, like, wow.
Okay.
I didn't get to that far. What's
You
your?
didn't do a gangbang?
No.
What's the most?
I did the, what is this? When you do all the penises. What is that? Blow bang. So I've done a blow bang. Right, and I'm like, I've done the girl with all the girls, where it's just a whole bunch of girls having sex. What is that? A female orgy? Girl on girl on girl on girl. We just a whole bunch of us. Yes. But it wasn't. I mean, I would have. Boy, listen, that would have been great.
It was the setup was like sexy.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it was like they were all like.
Well, I didn't know. Well, I would have tried. See, let me tell you something. I would have tried to challenge her. So Nyomi was always like top. So every time she did a movie or something, I was like, I need to either be in your movie, I need to do something like hers, because she's like one of the top ladies. So I would have tried. I would have challenged you. Yep, I would have tried.
Oh, but you know what? One of my favorite scenes. It was me, you, and what's that baby girl name? Taylor Rain that we did in the shower. Do you remember that scene? Girl, I got to show you that. I have to show you that. It was in Nyomi Diary Part 2, and we were in the shower, the three of us. And that, when I tell you that shit is so hot, like that is one of my top sellers on OnlyFans. You didn't, but I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
And that it was so hot, and like we worked together several times, and it just get hotter and hotter when we work together.
I was trying to be like.
So that's what that was.
I want to see y'all do a reunion.
I say that. Man.
Shit, I would watch that.
Look at him.
No, now I have a flashback. So Nyomi, look, can you stand up, please? I want people to see this. Come on, yes, Miss Lady, listen. I want y'all to see something. Listen. And now I was always little. I was always like,
where you going?
Looking up at her. I was like, I could do a scene with Nyomi Banks. Oh my God. And she would just be like, okay, yes, and darling. And I used to be like, wow, it would happen for me in slow motion to do stuff like that. Like we did a scene with Lexington Steele, and it was slow motion for me because it was unreal. Lexington, this big chocolate, wow, like he's like my favorite. He's my favorite. But he's so sweet, you know, but Lex was my favorite because that's my type personally. But when we did that scene, everything was slow motion. So talking about a climax or something, it was just like surreal to see your ass like coming to me. It was like her ass is coming and his dick is coming and they're coming together and they want me to lick that part. Right. Did the mic go off? Yes. I was just like, I wish I had this. I wish I had a selfie moment. Like, look at this right here. This is a real close insertion of like real sex. Because Lex and Naomi's energy was a climax in itself to watch. And so to be that close and see them, they had like a sexual soulmate experience. And they were like what Black couples wanted to look like. You know, we want to look that good when we have sex, you know. So there were so many highs. I don't think there's just one when you really open Pandora's box. Even like watching you with Mrs. Steffens, Superhead. I said, I want to be the best oralist She can't beat me. I always try to like challenge what I was already seeing. I said, if I'm gonna do this shit, let me try to beat everybody.
Yeah.
That would be my comeback. Say, I'm gonna try to do a scene with Mr. Marcus and one up Miss Superhead. Huh? Let me stop.
Don't stop.
Where did you have one?
Yeah, what's yours?
I know you got a good one.
No, I like hearing about. I like hearing about Lexington.
That was your competition.
That's my brother. And but that was the whole point. The whole point is to enjoy. And I think the input that women you had, and the smart directors and producers were, they go to the girl and say, who do you want to work with? Yeah, who do you want to work with?
Yeah.
What kind of scene do you want to do? And that was the difference. That was the game changer, because now she's like, well, shit, I want this guy, I want to do it like this, I want that scenario. And I think who benefited from that was definitely the fans, because the fans would be like, because the fans, they keep a mental and physical note of everything you do, who you working with, when you worked with them, and how and why you worked with them. You know what I mean? And they got a whole theory behind it.
Yeah, they put you, they think you're married, because I've been married to Lex about for 20 years.
Yeah.
To their knowledge, or Nikita Denise, that's my wife. Like really,
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's eras where these performers just, make an impression, make an impact. Yeah. I mean, shit, I don't know. I got no stories like that. That superhead thing, I be hearing about the superhead, and I be like, I don't know why that's still a thing. You know what I mean?
Because your reactions to it, you made it. Men usually don't show appreciation for oral sex. You were appreciating her effort. It was like, yeah, like I was. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember it. I mean, I always tell people, you're welcome. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things that I heard a story of a girl living in a state where porn wasn't easily accessible, and that tape was like, she had heard about this tape, and she went across state lines to a party or whatever, and came across the tape, and she took that motherfucker with her. And she said it made her want, and I ended up talking to her almost 25 years later in an email. She's like, hey, I gotta tell you this story about this tape.
Right.
And so to hear these stories, that however that resonated and drove people, or women, to go harder. I was like, cool, you know. So I don't, everybody's got a different story, but. Superhead, yeah.
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap it up. So what I want to do right now, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to say our goodbyes. We're going to say, but I truly do appreciate everybody just coming out and just, really sitting with us at this moment. We're going to take a quick break. This is your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey, my sexy people, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks. And I finally did it. I've written my first book. Well, actually, it's a living journal. It's called Good Morning, My Sexy People. Where I share my stories in different posts, but help a healing workbook for you. So it's 90 days to kick off your healing living journey. Pre-purchase now. Go to AskNyomi.com and hit shop. Listen.
Hey, we here at Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast. We'd like to thank you for coming out to our Ask Nyomi tour kickoff in Las Vegas,
Sexual
Nevada.
pilgrims, right? They're all coming into the industry, they all, they're tatted from head to toe. They're tatted from head to toe. And she just is like, just as cool as that. You know what I mean? And you see young girls, older girls,
And if you want the Ask Nyomi tour to come to your city, email us at info@asknyomi.com. Hey, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast. We are live again, and we are closing it out. We had a really, really good time. I'm here with my boy, Mr. Marcus. What's going on, baby?
Hey, I was going to say, I do have one little highlight. It was like a rough sex. We did a thing called rough sex, and it was like, it was like me and like 4 girls, and I was they told me to go rough with them, like slap their booties, you know, throat fuck them. And they were like massaging, they were sucking my toes, I ain't gonna lie, they were sucking my toes. And I know, that's what I said. And so, it was rough for them. It was like, but I love that shit.
Was it the toe suck?
That could have been it.
That was the toe suck? Okay.
That could have been it.
As long as you never took your socks off when you was ever. What you talking about?
You had to take your socks off?
Yeah, I had to take them off.
Fresh toes out the socks.
It was rough. It's called rough sex. That was a highlight. All right, so I just had to say that.
All right, well, what I want to do, I want to thank you all for just tuning in. I want to thank our guests to come out right here and just, really allowing us to share our story and just being in this energy space. I want to thank my girl Imani, aka Safel. And really, truly, I want you guys to go follow them. She has a really hot YouTube channel. It's very authentic. It's really nice. It's cute. I mean, she's talking about everything. She's a single woman, and she's talking about dating different. Like, I'm not even going to speak on it. You guys need to, go follow it, as well as follow Mr. Marcus. I'm going to pass it over so you guys can truly find out where to follow them at. I don't know if y'all want to share y'all emails or whatever like that, but that's what we're going to do right now. Go ahead, Marcus.
AKA Mr. Marcus. That's all it is, one word, AKA Mr. Marcus, from most social media platforms. And if you want to email me, it's contact@mrmarcus.com.
I'm nervous. I say this because I've been still healing. I'm on YouTube as Vanessa Safel. That's my artist name, Vanessa Safel. So if you try to look up Imani and Vanessa, they don't connect anymore. It's my personal life. And on there, I meet people that want to go on journeys, and I try to help them identify like where they're at spiritually. Is it more through sex? Is it more through just like trying to figure out who God is? Like, I do a lot of stuff that's not in the adult business. So if you are interested in that, you can find me at vanessasafel.com. If not, don't be messing with me, okay? Don't be sending me no random throwbacks, nothing, okay? Because I'm healing, and I'm at a space where I just want to enjoy my peace. It's been nice.
I can see that video.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't remember that. That's another thing. As you, like, on my journey where I started healing, you go through parts where you let go. You let go of certain things, and certain stories I don't remember. Certain people I don't remember because I'm coming back to my true self. But I'm sure now that, got these two people next to me, I'm probably going to have a dream about all the scenes I used to do. Like, dang, I did that too. I don't remember that.
All right, and for me, you guys know where to find me at AskNyomi.com. As well as every Thursday, we have a live podcast, Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast, where we talk about love, sex, relationship, culture difference, and so much more. You guys know what it is. As well as make sure you guys cop my new book. It's called Good Morning, My Sexy People. It is 90 Days Kickoff to Healing, and that is a living journal. So you guys can go ahead and pre-copy of that. Well, I will do an autograph for that before it goes out on Amazon. So as I always say, always keep it sexy, be good to one another and yourselves. Good night.
He said no. He said hold on.
No, I just want to give a shout out to Nyomi for just being so dope, just being like the strong black woman that she is, always being a leader, never being a follower. You know what I mean? You are like so genuine. You've always been about healing. You've always been about self-love. You know what I mean? And this is just a testament to that. I support you in every single thing you do. I just want to say, give it up to Nyomi.
We out! Hey, we here at Ask Nyomi Bridging The Gap podcast. We'd like to thank you for coming out to our Ask Nyomi tour kickoff in Las Vegas, Nevada.
naughty. I gave a lot of my energy to a lot of people. So one of my first assignments was to honor myself. And I honestly didn't know what that meant. I heard it in church. What does that mean?
And if you want the Ask Naomi tour to come to your city, email us at info@asknaomi.com. Ask Naomi, Bridging the Gap. This is where we talk about love, sex, relationships, cultural differences, and so much more.